Check 1, 2. Check 1, check 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're live. We're live. We're live. We are live. Everybody, we're live in America. We're live. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the program. Mark Sconti reporting after the long weekend, Memorial Day. All kinds of soldiers walking around. We represent, we honor on Memorial Day in America the fallen heroes, people who fought and died in wars to defend this great nation. I was listening to a little AM radio yesterday, sitting in the sand pit under the sun at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was listening to the radio of a guy who, his job in the military, he was a flamethrower. And that's what his weapon was. His weapon was the flamethrower. And when time came, he was called in by his sergeants to, hey man, I forgot his name, we'll call him Joe. Hey Joe, you're on. Right? And what that meant was that he was now supposed to go to the front of the line, and there were people attacking from the front. And his job was to go in there and take his flamethrower and throw the flame 100 yards or 100 feet, whatever it is, in front of the crowd and burn everybody and everything in front of him. And that's precisely what he did. And he was telling the story about his how he was what he was trained to do. He was trained to use this equipment, and it was all very matter of fact, right? And that's what we do, right? We train people to kill for us in our name, in our defense, in our aggression, and that's maybe a dark way of looking at what the military is. But that was just a story that I was listening to on AM radio one morning out here in the flyover state of Pennsylvania. And fascinating, right? Fascinating. I don't know. I think maybe you'd want to go to war. You'd want to go join the army to represent your country and your flag. But at some point, it involves killing somebody else, and just kind of, I don't know. That's what Memorial Day was my celebration. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Welcome, everybody, to the program. We're going to talk about Trump Derangement Syndrome. Trump, I think the big story today beyond Memorial Day is Trump invades New York. Right? Now, Trump, in an election year, 6 months ahead of a presidential election, there's never been a time where an American Republican president or candidate has ever dreamed about campaigning in New York. Trump was in New Jersey last week, down in Wildwood, New Jersey. But he was in New York. He was in the Bronx. And it was a big turnout. It was thousands of people screaming and yelling. Governor Hatchell, New York Governor Hatchell says, look, Trump brought all his clowns to New York. Right? Governor Hatchell, the Democratic governor of New York, is calling Trump supporters in New York clowns. Look, the clowns. Trump brought his clown show. But nonetheless, it was a huge turnout. And TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, on display. Robert De Niro, again, one of the biggest, victims of Trump Derangement Syndrome. It's mentally has him by the brain, It's wrapped around his brain, TDS, and it's visible for all who, chooses to look at Robert De Niro and the things he says about Trumps that are not based in any evidence, not based in any fact. They're just based in bizarre perception, right? Wrong perception of an individual who he just doesn't like. It seems like he's the same age. He's from New York. Right? I don't like this guy. He's bad. He's Hitler. Right, so we'll look at these bizarre kind of rants coming out of high caliber celebrities like Robert De Niro, and we'll find out what the hell's going on, man. So what else is going on? Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, ready to box it out. I think Jake Paul's going to flatten him. He's 25 years younger than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's having nausea attacks on a plane. This is all publicity, no doubt. Jake Paul, great fighter of today, and Mike Tyson, Iron Mike of yesterday. Mike Tyson's still fighting in his 50s, and I don't know. I don't think this young guy, is going to take it easy on him. Right? Mike Tyson is a threat. Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, 50 or no 50. But when you take a seasoned kickboxer that's half his age and very, very well accomplished, I think Mike Tyson is going to end up either in a coma or greatly embarrassed. Right? It might be a quick one, might be a quick fight. And, so we'll look at some of those stories. The Trump Derangement Syndrome, I guess, is the big one, really. So here we are, Marcus Conte, every morning, 9 a.m., forever, and we have been here for a long time. Educational, philosophical live stream every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the United States of America, broadcasting globally, wherever people might want to watch. We're here, and we're always here. We're also on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, and wherever else you might consume social media, we're here. And we're talking about all these fine subjects. If you want to contribute to the program, you can throw a couple of dollars my way via Zelle, shorthappylife@gmail.com, or in the PayPal tip jar or Patreon. Those are the ways that we support the program. Let's start right here with Jake Paul. Right? Jake Paul is a monster. Jake Paul reacts to Mike Tyson's health scare, gives update on status of Netflix fight. All right, so there's a big fight coming up, July 20. Oh boy, that falls on the same day that I'm going to run my big 3K race that I'm training for right now. Marcus Conte reporting on his own training for the big 5K, 3.1 mile run here in Northeast Pennsylvania. That I've been doing, that I do twice a year. I run once around Memorial Day. This time it's July. And then right around Labor Day, I'll do another one. I'm trying to find one in the wintertime, but I haven't found a good race to run. But I'm looking to break my personal best. I'm looking to do a personal best. So I'm out there right now. I'm out there running and training, right? Training for the next, I have, I guess, 6 weeks. 6 weeks to get in shape. But his Jake Paul, he's already in shape, and he's ready to flatten Mike Tyson. So the big fight is coming up July 20. If I had a bet on this, I would say that I don't know. I think it's hard. You know what it is? I think for Jake Paul, it's going to be hard to beat this guy senselessly. You know what I mean? Because it's Mike Tyson, and he's a legend. Right? And you beat him and you punch him until he falls down. Or Mike Tyson, you might have to kill him. But there's old Mike Tyson in his 50s, and there's the young Jake Paul. It's classified as a heavyweight fight, so Jake Paul can't be kicking him in the balls or any of that shit. Because I know Jake Paul is a MMA fighter, I believe. And so, but it doesn't matter. This is a heavyweight boxing extravaganza on Netflix. If I had a bet, I would go with I would go with Jake Paul, second round TKO, knocks him down. What Tyson can't lift his arms up. So, but anyway, I've been talking about these people since the 90s. Well, this person, is it a person or is it two people? We're talking about Abby and Brittany Hensel, the twins, the conjoining twins, right? Fascinating people, right? This dude, his name is Josh Bowling. He married one half of the twins. So we're seeing very unique pictures come out of the wedding. And there he is. Who's he going to kiss? He's got the sisters, right? I always said, like, if you're going to... See, what this guy did was he married one of the sisters. He married one part of the love, right? And how do you do that? It's one person. It's one body, right? Don't you marry the whole body? Don't you engage the whole body? I don't see it. So here he is kissing his lovely bride while the other head is over there. Right? I just don't understand it. I think that if he was a real man, he would have says, "I love you both. Marry me." And now you have a winning team, right? These two can run, push the husband around. Hey, what are we going to say to the husband today? Right? They can have a meeting. Hey, man. Hey, Abby, what do you want to do with the husband? Right? But this guy's, I don't know how that works, right? Right? If you're, what about, I mean, this is a marriage, right? So there's sex involved, consensual sex, right? Who is he having sex with? He's having sex with both of them. They're both in the room, right? If that's even going to happen. Is that allowed? Are the sisters okay with that? You're bringing your husband into our bed. So fascinating, really fascinating story about these two folks. I've been following this since the 90s. I think this is maybe one of the first photos I saw. It's like, a two-headed girl on a bicycle, right? And I remember this. I totally remember it, and we'll follow it. They're in their 30s now. I'll continue to follow it. It's a medical fascination. Parents at one time, and very early on, when the child was born, they were confronted with the idea of splitting the child, and that would not have worked. One side of the body would have died. And so they elected to just let it all be. And it's 1,000,000 to 1 shot that this could ever happen. But they are real and they are human. And but the idea of adult marriage is fascinating. I really do think that Josh should have married the both of them instead of one of them. This is an interesting story. In the age, right now, if I played Led Zeppelin's song right now, Led Zeppelin and their handlers would be so far up my ass to stop me from doing that because I'm invading their copyright. Right? This idea of copyright and copyright infringement, you can't play my song, you can't use my material, is really elementary in terms of what's about to happen or what is happening, which is AI can now take your voice and use it. Right? So in other words, if AI wanted to, if they wanted to have, for example, Johnny Cash be forever, right? Johnny Cash is dead, but if they wanted to have him sing forever, they could generate create a voice, right, that sings and sounds just like Johnny Cash. Now, is it Johnny Cash's brain doing it? No, it's Johnny Cash's voice. But if you can come close, right, close enough to a voice or close enough to a visual of someone, have you violated them in any way? Well, Scarlett Johansson seems to think so. There's a voice that one of these platforms uses. I think it's ChatGPT itself, right, is using a voice that sounds eerily close to Scarlett Johansson. And they had asked Scarlett Johansson to do the voice herself, and she said no. So they muted or mutated. That's the word. They mutated her voice and used it, right? Sheryl Crow too. She's complaining. Look at all these jerk-offs. They're all complaining. So is that fair to steal someone's voice? Well, Washington is pushing back on it, saying that AI rules are needed to protect artists in Hollywood. Right? They're protecting the artists. That voice sounds too much like me, and it looks like me too. I want money. Right? That's what they're saying, right? Maybe not. I don't know where I stand on this. I think that it is very creative and very artistic. Maybe it has to have a special label on it. This is fake, right? But the law itself is called No Fakes Act. So we'll be watching this one as it moves through the Senate. No Fakes Act stands for Nurture Originals, Foster Art, and Keep Entertainment Safe. Okay, entertainment safe. I don't know, man. Regulation in music. Remember when MP3 came out? Everybody was terrified that MP3 was going to destroy the music industry. It destroyed the record and cassette and CD industry, but it certainly didn't destroy any music. Music became more available, more listenable to worldwide through the use of social media. So what artists feared in the 90s with things like MP3 and distribution of WAV files, they're probably overreacting as well. If someone wants to sound like you, there's a good possibility that you have something that they want. So rather than shy away from it, rather than refuse to allow it, it sounds like me, it looks like me, it's not me. Well, maybe it should be you. Right? They're talking about you. Right? They're bringing you to the attention of millions of people. Although you may have millions of people already, you have some millions of more people. So I don't know. I think it's a more kind of useless, off-keel regulation, but we'll take a look. So let's launch full into Trump. All right? So Donald Trump. All right, this is big because never since Ronald Reagan, the 1970s, 1976, when he ran against Jimmy Carter and slaughtered him, has a Republican ever won New York. Now, when I believe Reagan was a landslide. Reagan was probably the biggest. It was the largest largest presidential landslide in modern history. Reagan won like 97% of the vote. He won. Everything was blue because for whatever reason, I don't think people liked Jimmy Carter because of his handling of the Iran hostage situation. There were hostages, and Iran had taken hostages under the Ayatollah Khomeini for like 450 days or 500 days, and Jimmy Carter just couldn't get it done, right? And Ronald Reagan ran on the campaign that says, in one day, on day one, this will be over, and that's what it was. He basically gave Iran what they wanted. They wanted weapons. They wanted whatever in exchange for the hostages. And Reagan made that deal, and that was the end of it. Right? And so, but that was then, and this is now. Trump is Trump Ronald Reagan? Is Trump going to win New York? Is Trump going to win New Jersey and California? I don't know, but this is what was going on in New York over the weekend.
Take a right onto the path. Then in 300 feet, take a left onto the path.
Trump brought all his heroes. I love my country, they can't take it away. I want to can the music. Look at this guy. I try to keep the music down to a minimum because look at this guy. What the fuck is this shit, man? Uh-oh, Blacks for Trump. I don't know what that song was, but we can't play. Can't play music. So some good footage. Here they are, people lining up to see Donald Trump in a park in the Bronx. Let's have a look. They look like, I don't know, not young people. They're regular people. They look a little old and a little flubby. I see some gray hair, some bellies. They're mostly a lot of men, I would say. The majority are men. Heavy male. Well, that's a good shirt to have. I gotta get me one of those. Convict Trump. Notice how the convict Trump sign. Nobody really cares. You see, it's like yeah, whatever. We don't care. She ain't having it. Fuck you, man.
Where you from? What state you came from? What state you came from? What state you came from to come here?
Listen, I know y'all can't go to the pandemic trip. I'm right. That's somebody Joe Budden. That's Trump.
No, Trump.
La la la. This is New York. This is New York City in 2024. Hello, Democrats. Guess what's going on in your backyard? This is happening on your front porch. People in mass trying to get in to see Donald Trump. Where's Joe Biden? Joe Biden can't put 100 people on that. Joe Biden can't do this. Let's listen. Trump Derangement Syndrome. Fuck Trump. Fuck you too. That's Trump Derangement Syndrome. There it is.
Boricuas for Trump. Dominicanos for Trump. Cuban Americans for Trump. Our house. They're paying a hell of a lot more for food and gas, that's for damn sure. And we got Democrat politicians giving illegal immigrants benefits that should be benefiting the people of this community. But it's going to people walking in the door with no benefits. Crazy. They're trying to destroy our country. Bronx is here. He doesn't need your vote. You think Trump needs your vote?
Yes, he does need your vote.
He's here to say he loved you anyway. He's going to help all Americans.
Are you a Bronx resident? Are you a Bronx resident?
No, I'm from New Jersey.
Which doesn't really matter. Bronx people, people hanging out from New Jersey in the Bronx is not unusual. New York people hanging out in New Jersey, remember, they're very close. They're neighboring states. They share the coastline, so that's not unusual. You're not putting the guy on the spot. You're not even from here. What are you doing here? You're from New Jersey. Go home. No, he's allowed to be there.
Cuban American rice and beans. Combat veteran, American, proud. Rice and beans for Trump. Fuck ass people.
He said rice and beans for Trump.
Fuck BLM. Fuck Joe Biden. MAGA country. History, baby.
See, this is what's going on. These are all police. That's a cop right there. Look at the expression of the police. The police are fascinating here. Look at this. Watch this. Watch. Here's the police. Look at the police. They're entertained.
In the Bronx, I don't give a fuck. Eso no es racista. Él quiere levantar todo el mundo, todo el pueblo para arriba. Él no tiene que estar aquí. Él sabe que ustedes no van a votar por él, pero él está aquí para decirle a ustedes. No es racista. ¿Dónde está Joe Biden?
Guys, if you're looking to go back to school, UMGC is waiving their application fee through May 31st. They've
Goddamn commercial. Oh, there's some young people. There's some kids. Hello, man. Mostly male, though, I gotta say. It's a heavy... I would say 60... What was it? Hasidic Jew? Hasidic Jews for Trump? All kinds of people. The Democrats are in trouble, boy. They are in trouble. They are in trouble. Democrats are in trouble. What else? It's a good video, by the way. Thank you, LLN New York City. It's a real video. What's really happening on the ground, not the bullshit. So these are New Yorkers, man. Definitely New Yorkers. I'm going to shut the music off because you can't do that. And there's Trump. There's Trump. There's no audio. Good. The audio went dead. I'm still here. Yeah, we're gonna kill the audio because so there's Trump. Boom. So what happened that day? Let's find out. Here's Trump. Let's watch.
Prosperity back to every neighborhood. I grew up in the city I spent my life in, the city I helped build, and the city that we all love, New York City. And I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. Mm-hmm. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New York. Got to bring them back. Got to bring them back.
What kind of horrible message is Trump bringing to New York? Prosperity?
And we're going to make New York bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here in the Bronx. And it's going to be done and funded starting on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House. Is that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the American dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, better than ever before. Remember that. Better than ever. It gets positive. Don't worry.
Okay.
It gets so positive. Remember, we're going to win. We're all winners. We're going to win so big, we're going to make it bigger and better than ever before. Remember that. So don't worry. By the time the other 6,000 or 7,000 people get in, it'll be very positive. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling. Our sidewalks are littered with garbage, bottles, and trash. But worst of all, the discarded needles from people that so desperately are in need of help. And we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger.
Trump on fire. Trump on fire in the Bronx. Can you say Trump on fire? Speaking to his constituents, I don't care where they came from. I don't care if they drove here from the Midwest somewhere. They're here, and they're cheering on their hero. Trump is the American id. Trump is the hero, right? That's what I see. And so that's what's going on in the Bronx. We'll continue with this. What else we got here? Oh yeah, Robert De Niro. We'll listen to De Niro's comments. There's a problem. It looks like in the Supreme Court. Justice Alito appears to be favoring the exoneration of Donald Trump for January 6th nonsense rally, called an insurrection, called a civil war act of trying to overthrow a government. It doesn't look like Alito or Clarence Thomas or even Sotomayor may agree with that, right? So a growing number of Democratic lawmakers called for Justice Alito to recluse himself from the case related to January 6, 2021. Are you kidding me? Right? So it's all coming to fruition now. As Trump runs for the presidency, looks like he's going to win. Looks like he's going to win big. Right? Now what? Where the Democrats are running for cover, right? Because on day one or maybe day two, all of the January 6th people, if Trump sticks to his word, they're all going to be free. They're all going to walk out the door. All the people that we know and love. There's a gentleman on this show that used to hang out with us all the time, Mikkel Sly, is sitting in the can right now. Sitting in the can for look at that, 4 years in jail. He's been there, I guess, 6 months or a year already. And all those people are going to be free. All you got to do is cross your fingers, get Trump in. If Trump wins, all of the alleged attackers on January 6th will be released. And so I hope that Justice Alito stays exactly where he is. So this is big. This is Trump derangement syndrome at the highest levels of in the Supreme Court, because this guy favored. What happened was Alito apparently flew one of the flags that one of the protesters and or ralliers on January 6th was carrying. He flew it outside of his house, and for that they're coming at him, right? So. Derangement syndrome on display, but this is the highest level, the creme de la creme of Trump derangement syndrome. This is the guy broadcasting it. Here's Robert De Niro. There's a now 3 weeks old video, but listen to the vernacular. Try to understand what he's saying, because it's hard. It really is.
About the former president, you have called him a fraud, a con artist. You've said he's a New Yorker like you, and you have watched this brand of BS for decades. And despite that, he became president. And now we're watching him 10 blocks from where we are right now, sitting in a courtroom as a criminal defendant.
So this is about the most softball questions you could ever get, right? You look at Trump sitting in court as a criminal defendant. Why don't you talk about the criminal cases themselves, how they've all been fabricated, how they're deeply, deeply unjust, how they're geared as political weapons. The term is lawfare, using the law to hold your enemy down. Right. But there's no pushback. It's just, this is a vomit interview. But watch how Robert De Niro loves it. Watch.
What do you think about that?
I think of how absurd it is. And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case. It's the least important in many ways, and yet it's the one that could be tried and finished in well enough time for people to just take that in.
He's talking about a fake case in New York, right? A bullshit case.
Does it give you some sense, not of joy, but of relief at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences? This is such a failed
argument that the leftist media is trying to make, that Trump is a criminal. It's not resonating. In fact, it's making people realize that he's the victim, and they're coming at him because they don't want to listen to what he's saying. They don't want to do what he's telling them to do. So they call him Hitler, they call him whatever.
Because, as you've said before, this guy's a con artist, and he's gotten away with it for years.
No, he's more than that to me. He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system. And I'm not calling him, I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency.
Wow.
You've played a lot of bad guys. Would you ever play Donald Trump?
Never. There's nothing about him. There's not one.
Oh, yes, you would. If Trump was the devil, if Trump was to appear as fucking Satan, right? And they needed to cast somebody, you would this guy would run to the position, right? So don't give me that shit. Don't tell me you would never play Trump.
Redeeming thing in him that I can see ever. And it's funny, I was just thinking that he actually became president. He could have done good things. Instead,
he could have done good things, but he actually became president. What a jerk off.
He had to do it all wrong.
What did he do wrong?
So, as we all know, so narcissistic.
Narcissistic about who? About what?
Self-centered.
Self-centered.
What do you say to those?
It's just hurling stupid insults.
Those who say, I don't like the guy, but I'm going to vote for him. What's your message to them?
I don't understand it. I don't think they understand how dangerous it is.
They don't understand how dangerous Trump is.
Will be if he ever, God forbid, becomes president. I don't think they really understand. And
well, why don't you tell us what's going to happen?
Historically, from what I see, even with...
And he goes back to, he's going to go to Hitler. Watch, Hitler.
In Nazi Germany, they had it with Hitler. They don't take him serious. He looks like a clown, acts like a clown. Mussolini, same thing. These guys, I don't know why, they look like clowns. They somehow, people... that element of society identify.
They look like a clown to you because maybe you are a clown. I don't know. Does Trump look like a clown? Not at all.
In some ways with them, but it would be chaos beyond our imagination. There's no mystery about him. He's right out front, and what he says is what it'll be if he becomes president.
Do you?
So he's going to make America and New York City great again. That's what he says, right?
Think our democracy is at risk in this election?
This is a disgusting interview, by the way. Just no pushback. It's totally baiting Robert De Niro. They just throw, they're using Robert De Niro as a kind of a punching bag, I guess.
I think that it is. I always keep saying, democracy is great, of course. But democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster. He is beyond wrong. It's almost like he wants to do the most horrible things that he can think of.
What horrible things does Trump want to do that he can think of? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And people will be like, oh yeah, he wants to do horrible things. What horrible things?
In order to get a rise out of us, I don't know what it is, but he's been doing it, and it's scary.
Are you?
Excuse my French.
Do you have any concerns for the future of the arts if you were to become president? He has already said he wants to go after his enemies. He wants to go after journalists and the news media.
Mm-hmm. He wants to go after journalists and the news media. He wants to go after fake news. the news media saying it. Because Trump doesn't like MSNBC, that's why, I guess.
What about your industry?
I believe he will. The only thing that I would think is that what'll happen is that he'll go after these things like he always impulsively, and he'll be stopped. There'll be pushback, a lot of it, and there might be as much pushback as needed, like in the streets, conflict that could happen, civil strife, because but he will try it.
You have no upside in having this conversation, in speaking out against Donald Trump. You are making yourself a target.
Of course you have an upside. For Robert De Niro is the face of Trump Derangement Syndrome. Robert De Niro, if there's ever a need for Trump to be played on screen, look, Robert De Niro is a talented actor. He's in some of my favorite movies, Raging Bull. He was The Godfather, right? He was fucking, come on, man. He was in Goodfellas. Come on, he's a great actor, right? Great Italian guy, right? Reminds me of my grandpa.
The interview will air, and he will immediately find a reason to talk bad about you in public.
Yeah.
But you're choosing to use your platform to do so. What do you say to other celebrities who don't want to alienate part of their fan base, don't want to step in harm's way, but they have similar megaphones that you do?
You know, the idea to be bullied at my age by someone like this is...
I'll leave it right there, man. I'll leave it there. He feels bullied. Robert De Niro feels bullied. What's going on in the markets in terms of bullying? Wow, NASDAQ is way up. NASDAQ is running. NASDAQ up 78 this morning. Dow Jones Industrial Average pulling back a little bit, down 126, which isn't a whole lot today. S&P 500 up 5 on the big board. NVIDIA, oh my God, NVIDIA is now $1,100.16 a share, up 52 this morning. Wow, just running, right? Nothing but money coming in for people who are holding NVIDIA. Reddit down, up 15 cents. Trump Media and Technologies after the long weekend and signs that Trump might landslide America in the next election is $45 a share. D as in David, Donald J. Trump, DJT, down 15 cents. Apple up, Apple 192, up $2. Google up, NVIDIA up, Amazon flat, Facebook flat, Microsoft down $1. And how about Bitcoin? Bitcoin down $787 a share today to 68,000 per share. Bitcoin, I don't know, I guess it's hovering around 70,000 per share, which is rather impressive. Military industrial complex stocks, I don't think I want to talk about these today anymore. I guess Lockheed Martin down 3. The medical industrial complex, Moderna, down 8. These are the vaccine makers. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, all red today. Overall, NASDAQ up, Dow Jones Industrial Average is down today. So that's the big story, really. The fact that we're talking about Trump. We're talking about Trump in New York possibly winning. Can Trump win New York? I guess we got to ask H.A. Goodman. Can Trump win New York? Hey, H.A. Goodman. H.A. Goodman is a commentator on YouTube who was once upon a time a Bernie Sanders fan. And then Bernie went the way of the dodo, and he went all in on Trump. And I wonder what H.A. Goodman thinks about Trump winning New York, Trump winning California. It's going to be an interesting day. It'll be interesting if Trump really landslides the election and moves towards the White House, right, where it's inescapably true that he won, right? Because if it's close, the Democrats are going to cheat him. You know, they're going to cheat. But I don't know what to sing, but boom, 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 boom. I don't have Trump Derangement Syndrome. Do you? I don't care about Trump Derangement Syndrome like you do. Trump Derangement Syndrome, buzzing everywhere. Break out your wig and blonde hair and spray yourself orange. Trump Derangement Syndrome. Don't steal my song. This is not AI. This is live. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me. Mark Sconti reporting.